Attorney General Pam Bondi claims the DOJ released all the Epstein files and even listed out 300 names. But we're seeing blowback saying that is not the end of the story. So we're going to go through some of the notable people named to understand what exactly their connection is, if any, to the accused child sex trafficker. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Well, after Attorney General Pam Bondi's battle in front of the House Judiciary Committee last week, where she was grilled on all matters Jeffrey Epstein, namely regarding redactions and whether there were in fact other co-conspirators or not. In fact, we did a whole sidebar on that. Bondi then
On January 30th, 2026, the Department of Justice released over 3 million pages of documents, 180,000 images, and 2,000 videos, all tied directly to Jeffrey Epstein. And what came pouring out of that release is shaking the entertainment industry to its absolute core. See, this all began when...
High-profile names. Now, on first glance, you might be saying, wait a second, did she just release the Epstein list? The list of Epstein's alleged co-conspirators, people who allegedly engaged in criminal activity, the abuse of young girls for years? That's why we have to put into context what this is about, okay? Because I'm going to go over the letter, I'm going to go over the names and try to make sense of it. Because a few things here, as we have previously reported, the DOJ indicated that there is no central Jeffrey Epstein client list that he had prepared. There's no little black book for people who knew about or participated in criminal activity and that he kept as a form of blackmail. This is not surprising. I never thought that there was anything like this. There's no evidence of that. There isn't.
Congress passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act in late 2025, which forced the government to make these records public. But here is the part nobody expected. Buried deep inside that massive document dump were the personal emails of Epstein's longtime assistant, Leslie Groth. These were not random files. These were detailed, time-stamped emails that mapped out exactly who was in Epstein's inner circle, what favors they exchanged,
on the screen here, but this is an example of some names. Jay-Z, Beyonce, Steve Bannon, George W. Bush, Bill and Hillary Clinton, George Clooney, Ron DeSantis, Richard Branson, Fidel Castro, Kurt Cobain, Mick Jagger, Cory Booker, Jeff Bezos, Joe and Jill Biden, Michael Cohen, James Comey, David Copperfield, Robert De Niro, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Jared Kushner, Janis Joplin, Donald Trump, Mark Zuckerberg, Peter Thiel, Ivanka Trump, J.D. Vance, Chris Tucker, Rupert Murdoch, Gavin Newsom, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Elvis Presley, Brett Ratner, Alyssa Milano, Elon Musk, Larry Nassar, Barack Obama, Tucker Carlson, Rosie O'Donnell, Bill Gates, Rudy Giuliani, Nikki Haley, Leon Black, Woody Allen, Alex Jones.
How deep those connections really went. Now, the first name that jumped off the page was Barry Josephson, the producer behind the hit TV show Bones and a former president of Columbia Pictures. In 2011, 3 full years after Epstein had already been convicted, Josephson recommended a young woman for an assistant position by describing her appearance in disgustingly vulgar terms that no reasonable person would ever commit to writing. But it did not stop there. Josephson also
proved to be pivotal and come up a lot are people like Leon Black, the investor and former CEO of Apollo Global Management. So, for example, there is an email from May 26, 2023. The names are redacted, but the subject line is E-Notes Trafficking Leon Black Call. And this apparently is a call with G.N. Christensen from Wigdor LLP. This is a law firm. And this firm actually at one point represented a woman who claimed she was raped by Leon Black, but they eventually wanted to withdraw from the case. And anyway, the email states, quote, Leon Black, Wall Street person, 72 or 71 years old now, founded the largest private equity global fund that exists today that's publicly traded, one of Epstein's friends, very powerful. Got a call from victim woman who said that she heard about lawsuit against Black. Victim said Black raped her around 20 years ago, 2001 or 2002, in Epstein's townhouse. Victim described it, felt pain, on massage table with head on floor and legs on his shoulders, excruciating. Spoke with redacted at Manhattan DA's office. Substance abuse problems in 1990s, preyed on by Epstein.
Borrowed over $330,000 from a convicted offender, and in return, Epstein leveraged that relationship to push his way deeper into Hollywood, even pressuring Josephson to get women he personally knew cast on television shows. The second bombshell hit even harder. Casey Wasserman, the chairman of the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics and one of the most powerful talent agency owners in the entire entertainment business. His 2003 emails with Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's convicted accomplice, who is currently serving 20 years in federal prison, surfaced with a tone so wildly inappropriate that Grammy-winning artist Chappell Roan publicly walked away from his agency. She posted on Instagram that artists deserve representation that aligns with their values and protects their safety and dignity. Within days, Orville Peck and Wise Blood followed her right out the door, and Wasserman was left scrambling, eventually announcing plans to sell the entire agency. But now, here is the part that should genuinely terrify you. The documents also revealed that Epstein had Hollywood's top crisis PR firms working around the clock, killing negative stories, spinning media narratives, and shielding his public image for years. And guess what?
Someone who has been particularly vocal in response to this letter is Representative Nancy Mace. She went on X, said, quote, "Despite the memo released by DOJ last night, not all the Epstein files have been released, and the excuses provided for not releasing all the files will not hold up in a court of law. This isn't going away until people go to jail." There's another one. "Where are all the logs from the receptionist station at Epstein's New York home? They kept track of underage children and people in power coming and going." Here's another one. "Where is all the audio and video from the Lolita Express," meaning Jeffrey Epstein, jet? Then you had Representative Ro Khanna, quote, "The DOJ is once again purposefully muddying the waters on who was a predator and who was mentioned in an email. To have Janis Joplin, who died when Epstein was 17, in the same list as Larry Nassar, who went to prison for the sexual abuse of hundreds of young women and child pornography, with no clarification of how either was mentioned in the files, is absurd. Release the full file, stop protecting predators, redact only the survivors."
The same system that shielded a convicted predator for over a decade is still fully operational today. This is not celebrity gossip, and it is not entertainment news. This is a blueprint for how real power operates in this country. Epstein built a network fueled by introductions, financial entanglements, and the constant promise of proximity to influence. And the most disturbing part?
But also
Many
another
of these
person I
people
got to talk about, Richard Branson, okay, the billionaire founder of Virgin Group. Now, his association with Epstein was already quite known, considering the two were photographed together. But let me just expand upon that, because you can see so many emails exchanged between the two or trying to connect the two. Like you have this one from 2013 to Jeffrey Epstein that reads, "Richard Branson is unable to come to your island because he has guests, but he wants to extend an invitation to you for lunch on Sunday. Dean Kamen and Greg Weiler will be going as well to this lunch." Or how about this one from November 2013, where Epstein writes to Branson's assistant, "I can send heli or meet anywhere." And Branson's assistant replies, "Hi, Jeffrey. If Richard comes to you for lunch, would he have to go through immigration and customs on St. Thomas? Is there a quick way of getting through?" And then you have direct communications, like this one from Branson to Epstein in September of 2013. "Dear Jeffrey, it was really nice seeing you yesterday. The boys in water sports can't stop speaking about it. Anytime you're in the area, would love to see you, as long as you bring your harem. I think if Bill Gates was willing to say that you've been a brilliant advisor to him, that you slipped up many years ago by sleeping with a 17-and-a-half-year-old woman and were punished for it, that you've more than learnt your lesson and have done nothing that's against the law since, and yes, as a single man, you seem to have a..."
They flew on his jets, they attended his parties, and some of them even had the nerve to call his victims liars. An industry that stood on stages and championed the Me Too movement, an industry that lectures the entire world about morality and accountability, turned out to be completely hollow at its center. And these emails are the undeniable proof. So the real question now is simple.
Caring, no whining, showed strength. Now, Summers released a statement that said, "I'm deeply ashamed of my actions and recognize the pain they have caused. I take full responsibility for my misguided decision to continue communicating with Mr. Epstein," but he ended up stepping back from his duties at Harvard. He resigned from his board position at OpenAI. Now, again, to be clear, just a mere association or mention or emails or correspondence doesn't mean that anyone had knowledge of criminal wrongdoing or participated in criminal wrongdoing. And just to be clear as well, no one has been charged other than Maxwell and Epstein. But again, that is just a sampling of some of the things we're seeing as the names were released.